Good morning, royal family, everybody. Once again, it's 3:27 a.m. in the morning, and it's just one of those nights where I'm still up and I'm still praying and hoping that God opens the doors for certain things to happen with the ministry and the things that are going on. Like I said before, one thing I will not do is I will never come on here and criticize my father or put him down. I, no matter what happened in the past between my father and I love, honor, and respect him. And I know that he is one of the, if not the best pastor teachers that have ever taught the Word of God. And he raised up a lot of great men. Um, I just want to be blunt and be honest about a couple of things. Number one, I would ask all of you, any of you, whether you know her or not, to keep my stepmother in your prayers. This woman has been through a lot, and she is a strong, and I can't even, the only thing whenever I think about her, whenever I spend time with her, whenever I talk to her, I always think of Proverbs 31. She's a virtuous woman. And I don't want to get into any type of details about anything, but I will tell you one thing. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the things you hear, because the majority of it is lies. Let me tell you something. Back in 1991, my father had an assistant pastor. His name was Dave. Many of you know him, many of you don't. Dave did certain things and took over the church. It's now 2012. My father has an assistant pastor. I'm not going to say his name, but maybe if you think of 91, you'll get what I'm talking about. First of all, this man Dave, I can't, I'm trying so hard, but you know what, is only, I'm speaking as my father's son. I'm not speaking as my father as the pastor. I'm not speaking as, a member of the church. I'm speaking as a son who was in my father's home, who worked there, who stood there and sat and watched the lies and the manipulations that are going on behind the scenes from a man that calls himself his assistant but is taking advantage of him, is utterly trying to destroy his family relationships. He's already, in my eyes, I feel like he's destroying my father and I's relationship. But his number one priority is to conquer and divide and destroy. And I noticed this when I was there behind the scenes. He would give if you remember the messages about the cockatrice eggs, you put the little things in the ears of people, and you try to put these little things in their head that this is going on and that's going on. Well, you know what? I really feel that it's sad, and I pray that God really intervenes, because this man needs to not be behind my father's pulpit. This man needs not to be taking advantage of my father. He needs not to take advantage of my father's finances and of my father's life and of my father's weaknesses. My dad is a very strong man, but sometimes in life we fall weak. And there's people out there that are manipulators, they're deceivers, they're liars, and they're con artists, and they want to take advantage of you when you're at your weak point. And in my eyes, I have to say that that's the truth. Behind the scenes, none of you people know, at the church what goes on. I've seen what goes on. And I really believe the major problem that's going to destroy this church is this man standing behind my father's pulpit. And you know what? At least I got the balls to come out here and say it. Everybody says, leave it in God's hands and this and that. Yes, I try to leave it in God's hands, but I'm speaking as a son. I'm speaking as my dad's son. I love my father. I know he is the final authority in the church. And when he comes to, and what I mean by coming to, when he starts to get better, because I know that he's going through a lot right now, and he sees and knows and finds out the things that have happened while he was sick, he's going to understand that what I told him was truth, and what I told him was right. I pray for my stepmother every day. I love her. This woman would take the shirt off her back for her enemy. I already watched her do it. Last week, 2 weeks ago. An enemy of mine, an enemy of the families came to the house crying and said, would you pray with me? And she let this individual in, and she gave this individual clothes, blankets, and sheets. And this individual stole from her at the same time. But she didn't get all hyped up about it. She just gave it over to God. This man standing behind my father's pulpit says that my stepmother is not saved. Says that she's a hindrance to the Word of God and to the church. You ever heard of transference arrogance? When you know you're guilty of something, you blame someone else for the very same thing that you're guilty of. And that's what this man is doing. She's saved. You shall know them by their fruits. That's the worst thing that you can ever say about an individual. And he's done everything in his power to utterly destroy my father, his marriage, his family, and his relationship with me, his youngest son, who loves him so much. My father knows that I love him, I honor him, and respect him. We have our ups, we have our downs, but you know what? I'm not going to give up on the man, because you know what? The man's never given up on me. And I expect none of you to give up on the man, but I expect some of you to stand strong, stand tall, if you're members of Grace Bible Church, and maybe now it's time to really come together and say, wait a minute, there's something wrong here, there's something going on here, this isn't right. This man should not be behind the pulpit. First of all, he's never been ordained. Second of all, he just got out of rehab for heroin. I mean, you don't just come out of rehab for heroin and all of a sudden you're the assistant pastor of a church. You know what? I try so hard to leave things in God's hands, but you know what? I speak my mind, and I try not to. And you can say to me, you know, Ryan, Matthew 7:1, you know, do not judge unless you be judged. There's a righteous judgment in the Bible. When I see my father being taken advantage of, when I see his finances being taken from him without him even knowing, when I see an individual going to people's houses asking them for certain things that he shouldn't be asking them for, when I see this stuff, when I see some of the eyes pinned out like this, you know, pinned out, you know something's wrong. And I don't want to sit back and I don't want to watch this ministry be destroyed. I love my stepmother and I'm going to stand by her side, and you know what? One day my father's going to thank me, because am I your enemy because I tell you the truth? Am I your enemy because I tell you that a man is going to try to divide and destroy a ministry that's grace-oriented, and a lot of people are just sitting by and watching? You know, I feel for my stepmom. I do, I really do. I think she's one of the greatest people I've met in my life. She's done a lot for me. Just words that she's spoken to me of encouragement. Remember, you shall know them by their fruits. And many of you don't see the fruits behind the scenes. But if you saw the fruit of certain individuals, you would be shocked, and you wouldn't be sitting there listening to them teach. You would get up and walk right out that church. Because I know damn well the fruit of my stepmother is a fruit of love, kindness, gentleness, patience. Proverbs 31 is all I can think of. And you know what? That's the bottom line. This man needs to leave my father's pulpit, get his own job, get his own place to live, stop living off my daddy, stop trying to control his life and his family and putting the cockatrice eggs in his head, and go get a life of himself. Either that, go back to the damn Salvation Army where you came from. Just leave my father alone. And you could say all the threats you want to say to me, Mr. Casamini. You could say all the threats you want. And you could tell me if you see me, you're going to do this, A, B, C, D, and E. I don't care what you say. I ain't afraid of you. I am not afraid of you. You are like a cockroach in my eyes. I'm not afraid of you. So you know what? Sorry if this sounds a little angry. I have a reason to get mad. I'm his son. And you know what? I have to sit there and I had to watch this bullshit go on. I had to sit there and watch this guy try to destroy my father's marriage. And you know what? It's not going to work. Because you know what? God's omnipotent, Mr. Casamini. And God's omniscient, Mr. Casamini. He's not going to allow you to do this. Because the truth always comes to the light. And the reason I put my head down is because I want to say it loud. The truth always comes to the light. Good night, everybody. And I love you, Aaron. And I pray for you every day. I really do. Have a good night.